Hey there, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into an incredibly fascinating journey, exploring the systematic logic of the Gemini zodiac sign. Now, if you think you already know the whole deal with this famously restless sign, get ready, because we are about to completely refresh your perspective. We're going to break down the actual mechanics of the Gemini mind, moving way past those common stereotypes to see what's literally happening beneath the surface.
So, here's a question I really want you to consider. What really drives the most curious sign in the zodiac? It's a question that usually gets these, super surface level answers. But today, we're flipping those stereotypes right on their head. We are going to look at exactly why their minds work the way they do. And I promise you, the reasoning is incredibly structured and just deeply fascinating. Okay, let's look at our roadmap for demystifying Gemini piece by piece. First, we'll meet the mercurial mind. 2, the mutable air element. 3, Mercury, the fast planet. 4, the duality of the twins. And 5, embracing the Gemini journey. All right, let's jump straight into section 1. Meet the mercurial mind. To really understand Gemini, we have to look through the classical lens of Hellenistic astrology, specifically as presented by astrologer Sunil Bugal. So, to be clear, this is definitely not your everyday magazine horoscope. Hellenistic astrology is this ancient, highly structural approach that relies on rich, systematic logic. It's all about the actual mechanics and classical techniques that define a sign, rather than just leaning on modern pop psychology. This framework gives us a profound and really grounded way to look at how a Gemini actually navigates the world. Let's rapidly establish the core data points here. Gemini covers May 21st through June 20th. Their element is air, their quality is mutable, and they're ruled by the planet Mercury. Honestly, try to keep these 4 structural pillars in your head as we go, because absolutely every single trait we're about to discuss is built directly on top of them. Now, this brilliantly illustrates the massive shift that happens when we enter Gemini season. Think about the zodiacal order for a second. We transition from Taurus, which is this steady, fixed earth, basically a solid stone, right? But then we hit Gemini, and bam, we experience this massive repolarization. We go from that heavy, immovable stone to dynamic, mutable air. Gemini is a cyclone. It's a butterfly moving rapidly through the environment. It's inherently unstable and highly volatile compared to the sign that comes right before it. Mapping out their traits immediately reveals the duality of the sign. It's like a giant puzzle. As a huge asset in the workplace and in relationships, their greatest strengths are for sure their versatility, their adaptability, and just being lightning quick thinkers. But notice how those exact same traits can easily manifest as their weaknesses. They can be fidgety, restless, lack application, and occasionally seem cold, mostly because they value objective logic so much. They absolutely thrive on mental stimulation, variety, and public forums, but they totally detest boring routines, a lack of mental rapport, or really anything that restricts their personal freedom. Moving right along to section 2, the mutable air element. Okay, the absolute crucial point here is this stereotype flip. Modern observers love to say that a Gemini has a short attention span, that they have this diffusive quality and their minds go in 10 different directions at once. But in the Hellenistic view, this isn't a deficit at all. It's actually instant mental flexibility. It's the mind's incredible ability to adapt to new input the very second it arrives. Because they're mutable, they are entirely open to changing their minds when new facts roll in. They view self-contradiction not as a flaw, but as the absolute mark of a curious, evolving mind. I absolutely love this vivid metaphor from the source material. Gemini is the pollinator in the garden of life. You see, as an air element, they carry a hot and moist energy, which in classical astrology represents connective, highly social energy. Unlike Earth, which holds its shape, air covers ground. It scatters things. A Gemini takes an idea from one person and scatters it across their social networks, literally pollinating minds as they go. They are the ultimate conversation starters. All right, let's hit section 3, Mercury, the fast planet. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the numbers 3 to 12. In ancient systems that link planets to the ages of human life, Mercury rules this exact period. So think about a child at that age for a second. What are they constantly asking? Why? 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 Right? Geminis retain this plasticity, this permanent inquisitive why phase throughout their entire lives. It's this distinctly youthful, fresh quality, a mimic-like ability to continuously learn without ever getting fixed or rigid. Because they're ruled by Mercury, Geminis are essentially the ultimate technicians of the zodiac. Mercury's astronomical speed translates into a mind that is quick, clever, and highly dexterous. They're gifted at getting into the nooks and crannies of information that everyone else just completely misses. They naturally love to hack systems just to see the mechanics of how things work. They're totally the kids who took apart the toaster just to see the springs. And unlike a big picture sign like Sagittarius, Gemini focuses heavily on the small details. This makes them brilliant early adopters of technology, navigating the modern market of ideas with a really playful tricksiness.
Okay, on to section 4, the duality of the twins.
Take a look at this quote from the source material: a DJ, poet, and construction worker. In Hellenistic texts, Gemini's duality meant it indicated two or many. A Gemini rarely wants just one option in life. They completely thrive on a multiplicity of careers, hobbies, and choices. They could literally be a DJ, a poet, and a construction worker all at the exact same time. Of course, this intense need for multiple options can sometimes cause what's known as Gemini paralysis, where they see so many possibilities at once that picking just one feels completely impossible. It's also really vital to note that Gemini is a humane sign. Unlike the bestial signs like Aries the ram or Taurus the bull, the twins represent human debate and reason. They split in two specifically so they can have a conversation, a back and forth, either with themselves or with others. In fact, traditional Deccan images even show figures holding both implements of art and war, proving a Gemini can comfortably hold dualities, being both highly aesthetic and fiercely combative in a debate. Let's move to and see how this builds in the physical body. In the Hellenistic scheme of anatomical associations, we trace the zodiac downwards. Step 1, Aries rules the head. Step 2, Taurus rules the neck. And Step 3, Gemini rules the shoulders, arms, and hands. Symbolically, this is the very first physical split in the human body, which perfectly mirrors the duality of the twins. And since Mercury rules the hands, this anatomical split continues right down to the 5 fingers on each side. This directly connects their physical anatomy to their inherent need for both mental and manual nimbleness. They possess absolutely incredible fine motor skills and physical dexterity. This is exactly why you often see Gemini natives excelling in fields that require intricate, clever work, whether that's the physical art of calligraphy, the technical logic of computer programming, or even the literal tricksiness of sleight of hand. Which brings us to our final section, Section 5, Embracing the Gemini Journey. When it comes to compatibility, their ideal matches are fellow air signs like Libra and Aquarius. Why? Because they share that exact same intellectual energy and endless love for conversation. Fire signs like Aries and Leo are also fantastic matches because they add that dynamic action and passion to Gemini's rapid-fire ideas, which keeps them constantly stimulated. Ultimately, a Gemini's absolute baseline requirement is a partner who values mental connection and communication above all else. Now, if you have prominent Gemini placements, listen closely to this one. Your path is not about settling down into a single boring routine. Your purpose is to bridge gaps between disparate people and ideas. You are meant to view contradictions not as a flaw, but as incredible opportunities for growth. Actually, your multiplicity of interests isn't a distraction at all. It's your greatest gift. You provide the spark of youthful intelligence that keeps ideas moving and prevents the world around us from becoming too static. Which brings us to our final thought for today's explainer. I really want to leave you with this question to chew on. How will you use your mental nimbleness to pollinate the garden of life today? Whether you are a Gemini yourself or you just want to tap into that incredible, dynamic, connection-building superpower, challenge yourself to stay curious, adapt instantly, and always keep the conversation going. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive, and keep asking why.